This is E&P Reports, a vodcast from Editor and Publisher Magazine, the authoritative voice of news media since 1884, serving newspapers, broadcast, digital, and all forms of news publishing.
And greetings once again, Mike Linder, publisher of E&P Magazine. As always, I urge you, if you are listening to this program on a podcast platform of choice, please follow us. Watching us on YouTube, look below me, subscribe button, hit that. Then there's a bell, hit that. Well, don't hit it, but kind of click it. You'll get an update each and every time we upload a new episode of E&P Reports. I'm excited. I've got three really amazing people working at the Post and Courier with me. Autumn Phillips, executive editor, number of years at the Lee papers, Autumn, right? Got started in Colorado, but this is something I dug because I stalked you. You spent time in Ethiopia, is that correct?
I did, yeah.
What were you doing?
I loved it. That's one of my passions is world travel.
Oh my word. There must be 10 stories there we could interview you on. It must have been fascinating. Chris Zoller, you have the best title in the industry, Chief Opportunity and Marketing Officer at the Post and Courier. Been there for 9 years. You started at one of my favorite newspapers, though, because they have the greatest domain name, oaoa.com.
The Odessa American, yes. That was when they were Freedom Communications, yes.
Right. I worked there years and years ago as a consultant, but I always like to say OA. And good friend of the program, actually third appearance. We don't have jackets or mugs. Sorry. PJ Browning, her real name is Pamela J. Why I said that, I don't know. President, newspaper division of the Evening Post Publishing, which is obviously the parent company for the Charleston Post and Courier. 10 years there, then 8 years at McClatchy, correct?
That's right. And then Gannett. I'm 39 years in the industry, Mike. I'm old.
No, you don't even. You started when you were 4. There you go. These guys are on the move. Hopefully not today. They'll sit still for the next 30 minutes because there's a lot of growth going on in South Carolina, not getting reported on. This is what's so funny. But you guys are doing it left and right. And we're going to talk about how the Post and Courier is expanding as we speak in South Carolina on the backside of this message.
This episode of E&P Reports is exclusively sponsored by Blocks Digital, formerly Town News. Even though the name has changed, their commitment to the media industry is as strong as ever. Blocks Digital is now even better positioned to deliver integrated solutions like content management, audience development, advertising revenue, video management, and more. Join the over 2,000 news publishers worldwide that power their ongoing digital transformation with Blocks Digital, serving over 141 million monthly users who view over 6.5 billion pages of content each year. You can trust Blocks Digital to empower you, to connect you at scale with the community you need to reach. Blocks Digital, formerly Town News, now reimagined to help meet the news publishing challenges of tomorrow and beyond. Learn more at blocksdigital.com.
Okay, so PJ, I get this tip from someone on my team. You need to do another vodcast with the staffs of the Post and Courier immediately. They have a unique approach. In each new community, they incubated different models to identify it's fascinating. I get this email, interview them, get Autumn on the program, quick. So Autumn, you tipped off somebody on my team. I've been looking for news about this. I mean, the last time we reported on your expansion was like 2 years ago, that everybody was picking up the story when you guys, we're moving into different markets. But now, Autumn, what the heck are you up to? How many markets are you expanding into right now? And what is this, if I may get the elevator pitch, what is this new idea, which seems pretty logical for me, that not every market is the same, right? So you do kind of a different model. So why don't you start off with us, Autumn?
Okay. So we're, our core newsroom is in Charleston, but we have 7 other newsrooms across the state. Our goal over the next few years is to become a true statewide newspaper. We're already really there, to be honest. We're the largest newspaper in the state. We have the idea of incubating different models in different towns, to be honest, is a new epiphany that I've had, or that we've had in the last year as we've opened these up, and we started to see that the market in Hilton Head is, the readers respond to one thing, and the market in Greenville, the readers respond to another thing. It's not it's not a one size fits all. And that's the magic of now we have all this data. We can constantly watch our readers and know how they behave, and not just guess. But I'll give you one example,
please,
of a market that we're about to launch this month, which is our Florence market. This is something that we're learning a lot about as we're launching it, and I think it could be something that we ideate into other markets. So Florence, South Carolina, had a really strong newspaper for a long time, and slowly over the years, it's been cut and cut and cut, and then in January they laid off their editor. The community came to us and asked us if we would come into that market.
The community came to you.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
That's been a trend in a lot of these markets. The community comes to us. They desperately want local news. They need somebody to be watching their city council, their school board, connecting them to each other with sense of place stories, and they've lost that. And you lose something important in your community when that's gone. So they come to us. We end up having a meeting with the president of the university there, Francis Marion University, and with a local philanthropist. And we talk about how could we create a newsroom for that community. We're launching this month in partnership with that university and with several community funders, what I'm calling a learning newsroom. We have 3 reporters and an editor, the editor that was laid off in January from the newspaper. And we're going to have 2 news interns every semester, fall, spring, and summer. And we're going to have a publisher, and we're going to have sales and marketing interns in each of those. So it's really a chance for us to not only launch a newsroom there, but to build a pipeline on the business side and on the news side of homegrown journalists. And not only did they come to us with funding and support, they came to us with a donated office space.
Just a little bit more context, because a lot of times what people want to take away from is how can we do this, right, in our market. So actually, Francis Marion University is a great example. So if you have a university in your town, there's opportunities. And in our initial discussion, one of the things that they were disappointed about, and they said, do we just need to start our own newspaper? And they have a student newspaper there. But their concern was that their students had learned in previous years from the newspaper through internships. And the newspaper in that market had actually rejected interns this past year because they didn't have enough staff to be able to have interns. So the university was really at a crossroads. Well, how do we get our students this real world experience? And so that's where we started brainstorming what could we do on the internship side that would benefit the university. And certainly for us being statewide, we found out that the majority of their students stay in South Carolina. And, just that whole needs analysis of figuring out, wouldn't it be cool if we graduated students from Francis Marion University? What if they wanted to go back to their hometown, South Carolina, and report? And how could we feed that into the bigger narrative of local communities that have become news deserts or not ever had a really strong newspaper? So we love this model, and we're going to, we're really excited about seeing how this falls into place and the shape that it takes. But I think it's a huge opportunity for newspapers and just good journalism and reporting across various states.
Chris, I'm going to get to you in a moment. I'm sorry you're not being ignored, because there's a lot of questions I have for you about marketing and but I want to stay on this topic now because this is fascinating to me. You guys have been nice. You've been sidestepping the fact that the paper that let down the market, if I can use that term, was owned by Lee, and they've been going through slashes and burns lately. And good or bad, right or wrong, it's just been happening. The editor lost his job. How, first of all, in a world where all you hear about is, well, our industry's dead, we'll just start up another blog, we'll just start up another digital news source. How did this community know that you were expanding, you were available, and you were a viable news source? Because you keep saying newspaper, but we all know you guys aren't focusing on the fact that there's a paper product. You're focusing on journalism and getting it out there, whether it's email, social media, digital, or print, right? We're putting aside the media. How did they know of your growth? How is this being transmitted in a world that most people think we're dead? This is what I want to hear from you, PJ, in your state.
I'll give a lot of credit to the team, and I'll say that, Autumn and her team from the journalism side and Chris from socializing on the marketing side, the Post and Courier has a really good reputation.
Statewide,
and so,
beyond your normal borders.
Statewide, and the work in particular on our projects team. So that's really deep reporting on issues throughout South Carolina. So we get a lot of recognition through what we did with Uncovered as the most recent. But I think that recognition, people will reach out to us and say, we wish you were in our community. And to Autumn's earlier point, the expansion into Greenville, again, people bringing us in, having a lunch conversation and saying, we really wish you could be in our community. So it's rewarding, but it is because of the work and the socialization, I think, that the team has been able to do.
All right, Chris, let's talk about marketing. That's my, I'm like you. I come from that side of the business. I'm not the journal, but your brand is known as the Post and Courier, correct? That is the brand statewide, not Evening Post, which is the company. Do you maintain that PNC brand in these markets? How are you launching that brand? What is the branding going to be now? Have you got that statewide recognition where you keep those that cool logo of yours on everything you're doing? Where's your mind at when you finally say, okay, we're going into this town? What are you doing?
Well, Mike, that's a great question. And I would just say that the Post and Courier, we've been around for 220 years. So we have a very strong reputation, and we know that going into a new market that we have that recognition. So we still maintain the Post and Courier brand, but we localize it with the local market. So basically it's the Post and Courier Greenville edition or the Post and Courier Columbia edition. And so now what we aim to do is, beyond the brand recognition that most people understand, is helping them understand that we have local journalists that are reporting in their communities. It's not just journalists here out of Charleston that's reporting out in Spartanburg or Myrtle Beach or North Augusta. It is local journalists that from there, live there, who know the community, who are all about the community, are reporting on the community. So it's really important to maintain the overall brand of the Post and Courier, but also the individuality of every market, because it is very different. And we're in those markets where they know us, there's also competition. So, we have to be smarter, more aggressive. We consider ourselves a startup. It's a startup mentality, as PJ always likes to say. A 200-year-old plus startup that has to know that when you're in a market that has other media companies there, we've got to be more boots on the ground. We've got to be more present. We've got our journalists at local events representing us, that they are a marketing tool for us as well, because they're covering us, but they also live there, and we want the community to know that that we're local.
What's this tote bag thing that I hear about now? They're supposedly coveted, and if you get that, people are like now, holding them and putting them up on eBay. What? No, stop. Okay, those of you that are on audio, I come to editorandpublisher.com/vodcast. I'll have pictures of these. So you actually have different tote bags that you said have high demand in the cities now, right? This little guerrilla marketing going on here.
Yeah, we do. So we created these tote bags, or these custom pieces of art, because part of our marketing strategy is that we really want to go out to events and meet people where they're at. So at the farmers market, at events that are very well known in those communities. And as part of the marketing strategy to drive more, leads for us, top of the funnel marketing is we want emails. And right. So what we do is we pass out these totes and say, give us your email, sign up for our newsletter. And they're clamoring. I think at one of our events, the totes were gone within 1 hour. And then we were at another event and they're like, I was in Columbia. I already have your Columbia tote. I'm looking for your Greenville tote. And it really just speaks to the fact that people really want to see things that are local to them, that are important to them, because every community is passionate. Everyone is passionate about their community. So when they can see something that's, custom to them, they want it. They want to have it. So
Autumn, stand by. I'm going to swing back to PJ and talk branding a little bit, because I want to get back to your model of expansion in some of the new markets. But PJ, I'm going to do a what if. You got some Lee ink in your veins. You have taken the PNC brand and you've had so much fun with it. And I love what you're saying. Here's we're a 240-year-old startup. This is the attitude I love. Reminds me, I hate to say, of me taking over a 145-year-old brand, E&P, just polishing it up. You don't kill a brand.
Absolutely.
I always say the Disney ears are alive and well. You just got to play with them and modernize them. So let's assume this is a what if, and I may edit this out because it's a stupid question. So let's say Lee says, okay, we're done. Take over my brand. I mean, now I'm asking you the question, because they've taken this brand, and I'm not being negative. I know they've gone through a lot and they had to push back against, a hedge fund takeover. But as they fire and start pulling pages out and only having one reporter in the market, the brand diminishes. And then your brand is strong. Have you ever looked at absorbing another legacy brand and trying to bring it into the family? Tell me where your brain is on all that.
No, we have. And early on, and again, it's not out of the question that we would do an acquisition.
Right.
So yes, that's always a part of a strategy. And I will tell you, certainly the Florence has had a good brand with that local newspaper. So acquisition's always on the table for us, and you may see us do that in some markets. On the other hand, I would just say that I think, and have worked on that side with the publicly held companies. I think the direction that they're going is not with local news, right? It's not with the printed product. So I think it's a very regional model, and it's definitely going after the digital advertising revenue side. I think that probably is something that may be missed, but our model truly is to go after readership revenue that supports the journalism. Because, I've been around long enough to see, classified, we let Craigslist take, and we had the downfall in 2008, and then we had COVID and preprint revenue and Google and Facebook taking 70 cents out of every dollar. It's like, at some point, how do you build a different model that is truly reader revenue supported? So, when you look at an acquisition and the cost that comes along with that, it may not fit into the digital model unless there's truly, like Chris likes to say, that top of the funnel where it enables us to just kind of get into that market a little bit deeper than what we would be able to without that.
All right. Now, spoiler alert, Autumn, we have awarded you in 2023 a 10 that does it right honor. I mean, I know, and I have your submission here. And I think that will be see, I just don't know when I'm releasing this recording. Ladies and gentlemen who are listening and viewing, this isn't live. I'm recording it, and I got to decide when to push these. And I got a lot, like 8 on our plate, but this is going to go out soon. So when you sent us your thoughts, Autumn, on the expansion, it was amazing. Added 27 new reporting positions across 6 newsrooms.
Yeah.
Let's just hold on that. You just absorbed another editor who for like 4 days was telling his family, or her family, I'm out of a job. And you saved this person, I mean, you're hiring. What's this like for you, Autumn, when you look at your, how should I say, brethren editors and other positions? You get what the question's about now.
I know this in my bones. Yeah, you can't, we're all going through this. We've been going through this for years and years and years. And I have been part of, I loved working for Lee, but we did have there weren't a lot of layoffs during my years there. And it's painful, and it's hard to look out at your newsroom and know that people are thinking about their finances and their future, and are they going to be next, and not the journalism. And, to be honest, that was the reason that I came to the Post and Courier. The ad said, do you want to be part of something that's growing, not cutting? And I did. We're locally owned, we're debt free, we're strategic. PJ's always thinking many, many years in the future, and relentless in communicating that North Star. I don't cry a lot in front of people, but you do kind of feel almost like overwhelmed to tears of this feeling that you're adding to the industry instead of taking away. It's incredible to be building something.
On a program I just released recently, and I don't know if you've ever listened or viewed to these things, I had 6 what I called diverse news disruptors who have formed together because they're sick of hearing 2 things. They're here, and I'm trying to paraphrase these guys, and some of them, like Imtiaz Patel, who's like running the Banner down in Baltimore, Colorado Sun's Larry Rickman. You may know some of these. Ken Doctor, right? I mean, yeah. They all band together because 2 things that upset them the most is, number one, where's the perfect model? And they're sick of hearing that. There is no perfect model. It's execution. It's just doing what you're doing. 2, nonprofit. It's not nonprofit. Some of these guys are nonprofit. Some of them are profit. Some of them have legacy brands. Some don't. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But it doesn't. Are there moments? I'm still with Autumn. Are there moments you want to just grab everybody in the industry and shake them and say, stop overthinking and just get back to because what you're saying to me now is, you're simply treating each market special and you're trying to provide a good product to the readers. Is that what I'm hearing, or am I over?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the old-fashioned idea, is that you do great journalism and it attracts readership. And then the important thing and the inspiring thing to me right now as an editor is the kind of journalism that gets somebody to pull out their wallet and buy a subscription is the kind of journalism that I love to do. In depth, has context, has sweep, is, beautifully crafted, great writing, those kind of things, the unique content, the angles we take, that's the kind of stuff that gets somebody to subscribe. And so just being relentless in that and making sure that the stories you do have meaning to the people that are reading them. And so, moving on from the old days where it was just getting somebody to click, now it's getting someone to really read and to feel loyal. This is a really great moment in our industry now that we're learning that digital subscriptions is our future.
Chris, chicken and egg. I mean, you are in a very great position when you've got the stories behind you. But then again, if you've got great reporters and no one like you trying to build audience, then you've got a billboard in your basement. But let's assume that everything's cool because you guys are growing and you've got great journalism and you know that you can trust your editorial team to just give good stories. What advice do you give you call yourself Chief Opportunity and Marketing Officer. A lot of people just call it now growth. What advice do you give those that get up every morning going, this industry's dead, this industry's dead, this industry's dead? And what advice do you give that it ain't dead? I mean, we all see the research. People have more appetite now for local news than ever. You've got communities begging to have a voice. People now today more than ever know they need a voice, whether it's print, digital, skywriting. What advice do you give to other marketing / audience / growth officers on how to approach their day-to-day tasks?
Well, I think, first of all, when anyone says newspapers are dead, I quickly point out, if you look at our audience today versus what it was in the past, we're bigger than ever. So you can use that data to basically, counteract that objection. But, I would just say that, the newsroom and the marketing team, and really cross department, I would say in the last several years, we've done a really good job in helping everyone in the newspaper business, our business, understand the mission and buy into the mission. And when you buy into that mission as marketers and anyone on the advertising staff, it's so much easier to be able to promote and sell the product. We make no bones about, paying for the quality of work. I mean, I think we aren't going to give away our subscriptions for a penny a month or, whatever it is. We communicate the value of the journalism that we do every day. We are in tune with what the newsroom is doing, why they're doing it, and I would say another piece of advice is, really making sure that cross department, you see where all those opportunities are. I mentioned events for us, we build events around what that newsroom is doing. And we will create series of events where we have a panel with our reporters, and then we can draw, anywhere from 200 to 600 people there. And that engages with our readers, but it also brings in new people to realize the work that we do, which is a great funnel for us. So when you look across departments, you see that there is a lot of opportunity. And I think a lot of times we kind of work in those silos, and we just work, in the newsroom, advertising, marketing with others. But here at the Post and Courier, we don't do that. And we're quick to point out if we are doing that, and we really force ourselves to be like, okay, let's talk more. Let's work together more.
All right, PJ, we're going to bring it home with you now. What advice do you give now to other CEOs, top guns, people in your chair that are saying, I can't find quality people. No one wants to work for me. You know what I mean? You hear it, right? You go everywhere and you hear that. What advice do you give to those people who wake up every morning and just don't have that energy that you have instilled into this company every day?
I maybe it's my old advertising days of never pre-qualifying a prospect. I say, don't pre-qualify our employees. Let's make sure that we're growing them, and let's not be the ones making the decision on who to grow. Let's have that communication back and forth and really open their eyes, because it's a great industry. It's digital, it's all things fun, and to be able to support the great work that the news teams do, I think it's the best job in the world. So, I tell everybody, I'm not going to be around forever. So it's like, who is going to grow this industry after we're gone? And we've got to reach out and get people excited. But I think we have people right here in our organization that can do more if we just challenge them and educate them.
Autumn Phillips, Executive Editor at the Post and Courier. Autumn Phillips is also being recognized with the rest of the team, including PJ, as an E&P 10 that do it right in our April issue. Chris Zuller, Chief Opportunity. I love that. Chief Opportunity. I'm going to steal that. That's a good one. Chief Opportunity Marketing Officer at the Post and Courier. Thank you for your valuable time, hard work, and sharing what you're doing. And PJ, I'll be seeing you soon, I assume, at the next conference and meeting parts of your team. Keep up the good fight. And more importantly, keep sharing and keep mentoring. I think that's the important part. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. And I have to add this, you can edit this out if you want, but Chris's job title, this is what I really loved about it is, we were talking about what she wanted to do, and it's like, well, what do you want your title to be? And she comes with Chief Opportunity and Marketing. And I was like, is that the greatest title ever? So
yeah, perfect. It's
just perfect, right?
I mean, because that's what it's all about, man. And I got to just say, to Autumn, I loved every other word out of your mouth when I was talking to you, because you said what I love to hear. You tell stories. Let's be honest. Isn't that what it's about? I mean, it's not, you can define journalism in a million different ways, dissect it, go to all these talking heads with PhDs at colleges. When you get a good storyteller, don't you feel it in your bones, Autumn? I mean,
I love it.
Because that's what it all goes back to. Can you embrace me? I could go on for hours with you guys. Take care, keep up the fight, stay healthy, and we'll be speaking soon.
Thanks, Mari.
Thank you.